this proposal has not been prepared separately from the field and the parties. This proposal came from discussions and negotiations that lasted for a week with the different parties, and we have to start a plan to stop these military and hostile operations. If France today is able to exert these diplomatic efforts, it's because that all the world knows that France stands for the international law and the international humanitarian law in addition to justice. Our conference today has been a chance to send diplomatic messages. In the first place, it has been a chance to mobilize the collective efforts to respond to the humanitarian crisis and the humanitarian needs in Lebanon. As I said, what France did after the explosion of the port and after the hostile actions in Lebanon, France cannot turn a blind eye in front of a humanitarian situation. That's why we're talking. That's why we always propose for peace. That's why our voice is heard. There is a danger in a regional war. That's why we have to double our efforts and our attempts to convince all the parties concerned to stop the loop of the violence, because this is not easy, because wars had its own dynamics. But rest assured that the president of the state, the ministers, the ambassadors, the embassies, in all the exposed locations and in all difficult conditions, alongside the Minister of Foreign Affairs, that we allocate great part of our time for this. I'm from France 24. This amount of money, 800 million, if we're talking only about humanitarian aid, what are the guarantees that the displaced people are the ones who are really going to get this aid? What is the guarantee for the delivery of the humanitarian aid due to the conditions in Lebanon? This is an excellent question that we had answered before. I'd like to praise the forces and the teams working in the crisis center and the support in lots of countries. With lots of countries, we had cooperation relations based on confidence with local parties and partners to make sure that the aids provided reach the needy people. That's why I recommended the agencies that will never hesitate in providing the humanitarian aid in Lebanon. I'd like to tell everyone that there are credible tools that guarantee the delivery of aid in Lebanon. And these local authorities have their own channels for the delivery of aid. The aid can reach in many channels, especially and the NGOs that participated in our discussions today, that has its own way of work in Lebanon. They also work in a framework of transparency to make sure that there is accountability for those who deliver the aids. My name is Michel Abu Najm from Middle East News. Your Excellency, you always talk about Resolution 1701. You mentioned it now, you have mentioned before. The same applies to the President of the state, and the Prime Minister Miqati also talked about this. But how do you think this resolution will be implemented, and have you already coordinated with your American partners who have a different perception of this resolution from yours? Can you tell us what is your perspective? How do you believe that this resolution should be implemented? Should it be amended? Should it be complemented by adding different items, or it should be replaced by another resolution? Thank you for your question. We are not, we do not think that this resolution is ambiguous. You mentioned our American partners. I'd like to appreciate and salute them for their aid. They provided 300 million as an aid from their side. There have been phone consultations, and I will meet them soon again. I said this before. The US-French initiative that was launched like a month ago is the base for our efforts in order to reach out to a solution that allows 600,000 Israeli displaced person or people to return to their home, and the return of the displaced Lebanese people to their houses.